Wow, thank you so much for the incredible welcome, Dr. Hunt. You are such a gift to me and to our city. Thank you all for joining me here today, and a special thank you to Mississippi District Attorney Scott Falone, Jarrell Daniels, and Victoria Davis, who you'll be hearing from shortly. Thank you to the three of you for supporting me every day in our shared mission to build a Manhattan DA's office that works for every New Yorker. I'm Lucy Lang. I'm a mom, a former assistant district attorney who has worked with survivors of heinous violence, and a national criminal justice reform leader who has worked alongside incarcerated New Yorkers in our prisons. I'm running for district attorney to realize the full potential of what the DA can do: promote the dignity of every New Yorker, uphold racial and gender equity, prioritize the prevention of crime, and restore communities most impacted by it. That's why I'm honored to earn the endorsement of the people most impacted by the system, as well as by people leading the charge to reform it, including a dozen leading progressive prosecutors from across the country, survivors of Harvey Weinstein's sexual abuse, and police reform activists and family members of those who've lost loved ones to police violence. It's apropos that in New York, as I'm sitting in my new campaign office, I can hear the sirens in the background and the subways under feet. And this is what we love about New York City, is the thriving bustle of it all. Because I'm a New Yorker, and because I've worked in the system, and because I've worked with the people who are on this call today, I know that the role of the district attorney encompasses much more than prosecution alone. Many years ago, I handled a case in which two masked gunmen stepped out from behind a parked car on Upper Broadway and opened fire, hitting 5 people and killing one, the father of a 3-year-old. Over the course of a many-month investigation, I became close to the mother of the young man who'd been killed, and ultimately the gunmen were identified, brought to trial, and a jury returned a verdict of guilty. The morning after the verdict, I called the mother of the young man who'd been killed, who was working round the clock and raising her grandson. And I asked her how she felt. She replied, "I slept all night for the first time since my son was killed. But when I woke up, all I could think about were the moms of those 2 boys," referring to the 2 men who had just been convicted of murdering her son. Her incredible generosity inspired me to create a first of its kind college and prison course that you'll hear more about today. It brings assistant district attorneys inside New York's prisons to work on justice reform alongside the people most impacted by the system. And the next Manhattan district attorney must take a 360-degree view of the system and how it impacts everyone it touches: victims, incarcerated people, their families and children, and the communities we all live in. The criminal justice system and our city at large is at a historic moment. New Yorkers from all communities are standing up and crying out for change to a system of mass incarceration that has disproportionately devastated communities of color and poor communities. They're calling for change to a system that has privileged the wealthy and elite over everyday New Yorkers who are doing their best to get by, and for change to a system that has for far too long been cold and uncaring to people most impacted by it, whether they are victims, incarcerated, or families of those people. And with the support of Manhattan residents from across the borough, that change starts on day 1, when I hope to earn your vote and serve as the next Manhattan district attorney. But it's not enough to talk about reform. The next DA must have a plan for how she'll actually lead the office, and the experience to turn bold ideas into real, tangible, progressive reform. And that's why today I'm so proud to release my policy book, A Roadmap for Justice in Manhattan, a vision for how together we'll transform the criminal justice system and build a DA's office that is rooted in the dignity, equity, and safety of every member of our community. The roadmap was built in close collaboration with community advocates, subject matter experts, and system-impacted New Yorkers, including the speakers you'll hear from today. This vision includes 27 policy plans that I will implement as the next Manhattan district attorney to end mass incarceration, prioritize public safety, promote accountability, and foster community. It includes detailed plans for advancing racial and restorative justice, tackling rising gun crime, and restoring communities impacted by crime, overhauling the sex crimes unit so it puts the needs of survivors first, holding police accountable when they commit harm and changing the culture of policing, treating mental health and substance misuse as public health issues, and ensuring that every Manhattan resident, no matter who they are or who their lawyer may be, is treated equally. The vision that we've released today is just the start. It is an actionable map for reform, as well as a report card for when I'm district attorney, so that Manhattan voters know where I stand and will deliver on the bold transformation we've laid out today. With 76 days to go until the primary, one thing is clear. I'm ready to step in and lead on day one to implement the long overdue change that the office needs and that the city is calling out for. Our campaign is driven by people most impacted by the system. And as district attorney, I will ensure not only that their voices are heard, but that they have a seat at the table every day and have their views reflected at all levels of the office. Thank you all so much for joining me here today. Let's make history together. And with that, I will turn it back over to you, Dr. Hunt, with my great gratitude, and look forward to questions later in the program.